This is Matrix Lord 212, and welcome to the Real Whovians cast. This is an emergency Real Whovians cast because I have to address something. Now, my lighting is crap. Let me see if this is working. No. Okay, hold on. Alright. Technical difficulties. Hello. Trying to get this to work. Alright, so here's the situation. Alright. Recently, how do I go about doing this to be the best professional way possible? Doctor Who cannot be labeled a television show that is a children's television show because there is a rating on Doctor Who that says 14 years old and up, meaning young adults. It is a young adult television show. And anytime, if you're doing a podcast or a live stream or a video about it, and if you have a panel on a podcast, you cannot mislabel Doctor Who as a children's show, even if you're a elementary school teacher. Okay, you could look it up on Disney Plus. You could look it up in your own country, in the UK. It is young adult, 14 and up. Okay, so that is what Doctor Who is, in case you didn't know and I had to educate you about it. You cannot say anything about Doctor Who saying it's not appropriate for children, because it's not for children. It's for young adults, 14 and up. There is a rating. If you don't believe it, you could go right on to Disney Plus and you could look on the homepage. You could look anytime Doctor Who starts in your own country. You could see what you rate it. But in America, it's 14 and up. And that's like you rating Friday the 13th, rated G, and then doing a podcast about Jason killing people. And you're like, this is not for children because he kills people. No, Friday the 13th is rated G. It's rated R. And Doctor Who is not rated for children. It's not rated G. It's rated for young adults, 14 and up. I know that some people love to do podcasts, and I'm not trying to be a dick, but I kind of found it funny how all opinions are supposed to be welcomed, and one particular podcast I saw, the opinions were different, and then in the comments section, everything is, it's not for kids, it's not for kids, it's not for kids, it's not for kids. I'm a teacher, I'm an elementary school teacher, I lectured for 28 years or 28,000 lectures, and no offense, Brandon, but if you have no idea what Doctor Who is rated, then you should be saying what you think it's rated, because it's not a children's show. All you have to do is watch the beginning of Doctor Who, the first 5 seconds, and it will tell you flat out, if you are a parent, Brandon, and you're worried about should your kids see this or not, they rate it for you in America, and I'm sure in your country they rate it in the first 5 seconds before it says the BBC logo. It will say on the bottom what it is. In our America, 14 and up, you are in high school, you are a young adult, and you are watching Doctor Who. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Imagine doing a podcast and coming down hard on somebody and psychoanalyzing a panelist because they liked Doctor Who, and they were talking about they like to see what's going on with this storyline where the Doctor is doing torture against the villain, and oh, that's not Doctor Who. Well, no, it's not Doctor Who from the classic series. This is young adult. This is young adult. So you have people dissecting this poor guy, Paul, on the comment section and make it like something's wrong with him. And they're like, oh, what's wrong with him? And like, oh, like stuff about, oh, does he think about kids? Well, you don't need to think about kids because it's not a kid's show. It's young adult show. So I don't like, here's my take on this, all right? I'm gaming today. I'm digging a hole. I'm playing hole digging master, okay? I don't care about making money. I don't care about ratings. I don't care about clickbait. I don't care about my YouTube channel. All I cared about was digging a hole, getting some trophies. Not even so much the plot. I was kind of, before I was playing that, I was like, a little bit back and forth between playing the game all day and then going on the Sensphere in the comment section. And I didn't like what I saw because the show is being judged wrongfully. Think about it. You're doing a whole entire podcast on Doctor Who, and to push your argument that you want it canceled or you want it to continue, you're labeling it as a children's show, and it's not a children's show. It's a young adult show. So every single podcast of the Sensphere, anytime Brendan used the I'm an elementary school teacher, this is not for kids, is invalid. Not because if he's a person, but because it's not a children's show. You can't rate it as an elementary school teacher because it has nothing to do with children. It has to do with young adults. And I have to put this out there because it's fair, Brendan. Okay? It's fair. People, and I'm not saying this is what they do in Sensphere because I like the Sensphere, but people are allowed to like or not like an episode, and they allowed, they're saying this is not the Doctor. Well, it's a young adult show, isn't it? And it's continuation from the classic series, but now in today's standards, it's young adults, right? So what's the story? Why are you judging this as a children's show? And to be fair, I'm pretty sure in your country that it was rated all the time by who could watch it. Now, if as a child of the classic series, you're watching Earthshock and you're not the teacher anymore, Brendan. You are a kid and you're watching it and you're seeing the Doctor shooting a Cyberman. You're seeing the Doctor stabbing the Cyberman in the chest. Now, things were different back then, right? By today's standards in America, that would be labeled young adult because that's not appropriate for children. Yet it appeared in your country and in my country, and people are watching it. So in America, maybe we got the perfect rating system. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that our rating is your rating in the UK, that it is basically young adults. Now, here's the thing. Here's the kicker, right? If it's been this way all along, since it's been on Disney, maybe you just didn't look to see it was a young adult show, and you just assumed it was a children. Now, what's children? Well, children is anything that's not a teenager, obviously, right? And I'm not trying to be a dick, okay? But you put in your comment section, we had a nice back and forth, but you're like, case closed. Okay, well, you're entitled to say case closed. It's your show, but it's not closed because you got it wrong all this time. You're doing podcasts all this time, and you called it a children's show, and it's not a children's show. It's a young adult show. Now, just in case it's not to be understood, how can I make you understand that it's a young television show? Okay, well, let's see. What Doctor Who spinoff had to do with school and kids? Class. And what did, by your standards as a teacher, what did Class have a rating of? They called it Ya, meaning young adult. Ya. So Class felt it wasn't for kids, and it was rated Ya, young adults. So if that was going far that back to when Class aired, that's during, I guess, the Moffat era, right? Then New Who was labeled as young adult the whole time. So you can't even have the argument of New Who not being for kids because it was never labeled for kids. It was labeled young adult, right? Think about that for a second. Now, this is the eye-opener, right? This is an eye-opener, right? Oh, my God. The whole entire new Who is labeled young adults, 14 and up. You can't say anything about being for kids because it's not for kids. It's rated young adult. Now, again, why is this video coming up? Well, it seems that for some odd reason, okay, I was just going to talk to you about it directly, but my Twitter was flooded with harassment and hatred from your people on the Censphere, bashing the shit out of me. And I found that very, very interesting. I'm not saying you enabled it or you allowed it, but let's be fair, okay? It's not a children's show. So the object of torture, well, kids are allowed to go to the movies to see stuff like that. Not kids, I'm talking teenagers, right? There are movies that are rated, right? So they could probably see a Friday the 13th or an Alien or a Predator movie without a parent, right? Because it's rated PG-13, I guess, right? So this is rated 14, right? So they could see the Doctor on the screens. Oh, wait, actually, you know what? Even better. Doctor Who's going to be in the theater. Doctor Who is going to be in the theater next week. What do you think the rating's going to be? Not rated G, rated 14. I don't know what your ratings are, but it's rated PG-13, meaning you could watch the Doctor torture someone and not complain about it because that's what the rating is. Now, should Doctor Who be re-rated based off of your country and your country mislabeling a rating? So what would happen in today's standards, 2025? I want my kids to watch Doctor Who. I don't know. I want them to see a classic series. I've never seen Doctor Who in my life. We've put on Earthshock. Oh my God, the Doctor's shooting people and stabbing people. Well, that's not appropriate, is it? I'm not happy as a father, as a parent. I don't want my kid to see that. What's wrong with these people in the UK labeling that for children? Something, I mean, don't they, are they the founder of the English language? What is going on here? Right? What is going on here? I would think that Doctor Who Classic Series needs to be re-rated, because how could you rate it for children if the Doctor is shooting Omega? How could you rate it for children if the Doctor, Sixth Doctor, is choking his companion? Noodle Lover, the latest episode was crazy as they purposely made you think the Doctor was dead. It was a crazy episode, right? But here's the thing, and here's another thing too, just because I said I want to see the value in a future storyline, does that mean that I'm into torture, that I want people tortured? Of course not. Don't be intellectually deficient. No. I mean, you're a teacher, you know, right? That doesn't mean I'm, and then you're saying you're an expert. Okay, you're a teacher, an elementary school teacher. What are you? Are you an elementary school teacher? Well, then it's invalid, isn't it? Because it's not a children's show. But then you were implying your credentials against me. I'm sorry, I'm not a teacher, but I'm a parent. I'm a dad. And I find it offensive that you don't know how to rate Doctor Who in your country. Because what if I wasn't at the Doctor when I wanted my kid to watch this thing, Earthshock, and you see this guy stabbing people and shooting people? That is not a cool rating. I'm offended. But you would be offended in 2025, but you wouldn't be offended in the 80s. Why? Because none of this stuff existed in the 80s. We didn't have the Doctor in a kilt or a skirt. We didn't have a doctor. They didn't show any of this stuff on TV, anything to do with gay or anything like that. They didn't show that stuff, right? And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, but I'm just saying they didn't show that stuff. So now maybe things need to be re-rated. I mean, wouldn't you be in charge of that because you're a teacher? Wouldn't you make a stand against Doctor Who's classic series because it's more important to you to be a teacher, to protect the minds of your kids that you teach, that you should put, that they should re-rate every single episode of the classic series of Doctor Who so there's no room for error. Thank you, Brandon. That's a great movement. That there's no room for error that these kids can't be traumatized by watching the hero shoot a Cyberman and stab him. Thank you, Brendan. You just created everything that went viral. That's what you said. It's all about the kids, right? You're a teacher, so you need to do that, right? You have a responsibility as the host of the Sensphere, right? To make sure that children are not traumatized by a hero that does violent things. And I guess, unfortunately, Brendan, because you guys didn't know how to rate things in the past, maybe Doctor Who needs to be re-rated, no? I'm just throwing it right back at you, Brendan. I mean, I can't possibly outsmart a teacher because you're smarter than me, right? So I'm just being a dick at the moment and having fun with it because guess what? Every single time, Harriet Jones, you said that you were a teacher and you had 28,000 lectures and you know what you're talking about as an elementary school teacher? Yes, you do. You know what you're talking about as a teacher in elementary school. That's about as relevant as me having pizza for lunch when we were talking about Doctor Who. That's as relevant as me liking water. It has no relevance on any podcast you've ever done because it's not a children's show. If you were talking about the classic series, well, I guess it's still mislabeled wrongfully, right? As a children's show. Tom Baker's Doctor and Brandon Morbius. Yeah, why don't you put that in your classroom? Let them watch Tom Baker gas the villain to death. Guy's dying and suffering and can't breathe because he wanted to save Sarah Jane. Well, put that in your classroom. You said it's appropriate, the classic series, right? Go ahead. Never happened in Doctor Who before, right? Show the episode where William Hartnell went to stone the fucking guy to death and almost killed him with a rock. Oh, wait. You don't know what you're talking about. I see. I see. So it is violent. The Doctor was violent in the past. I see. You just were a kid and didn't know any better because you're looking at everything now as a teacher's perspective, as an elementary school teacher, but you're not. This is not an elementary school show. It's a kid. It's not a kid show. It's a young adult show. No, the reason why I'm saying this, Noodle, is because there was a big debate on the Sensphere, and of course, you're allowed to have differences of opinion, but they kept labeling Doctor Who as a children's show. And they were saying this is horrible for kids. And Brendan was talking about him being a teacher in elementary school, and it's not for kids. It's not for kids, but it's not rated for kids. It's rated for young adults. So that's the biggest paradox there is, that he got it wrong. It's not a children's show. And again, I wasn't going to say anything until I saw all the harassment on Twitter. It's amazing. People making fun of my teeth, well, because I made some comments in the Sensphere, and I don't think I didn't say I hated Brendan. I didn't say I disrespected him. I didn't say anything. He's the one that was talking about I'm a teacher with 28,000 lectures. Okay. But that poor guy, Paul, that was your own panelist, right? And your guys in the comment section are ripping him apart to that? You didn't defend him? Wow. Case closed, but did you defend your panelists? Because I defend my group. Did you defend the guy for having an opinion? Because that other guy was ripping the shreds saying, oh, does he think about kids? What does he need to think about kids? Is it a young adult show? He's watching his show to enjoy. What does that have to do with children? And I don't understand why you're bringing kids into it. Yeah, it's 14 and up, but that's not kids. You're in high school. It's not 5-year-old. That's not children. So what are you talking about children for in your comment section? Why is your people dissecting this guy for interested in the dark path the Doctor's taking? Why are your guys ripping this guy to shreds? And then you're not defending. You should defend everybody, right? If you defended all opinions, right? But you're going after me too. That's weird. No? But I got to tell you, a teacher, what ratings are, right? Like audience rating. Do you want me to prove it to you that Doctor Who is rated 14? What is that? What's that rating? 14. TV 14. Both seasons. 14-year-olds. High schoolers, buddy. Young adults. High school. High school in America. High school. You don't think that they've ever seen a movie at 14 in the theaters like Aliens killing people, Predator killing people, Aliens attacking Independence Day? You don't think? That's not rated G. It's appropriate for young adults. It is. It's young adults, buddy. You can never again on the Sensosphere call it a television, call it a children's show. And you can't even, any opinion you've ever had while it's with that rating, based on it being for children, is invalid completely. Lost the argument. Can't get that. All right. If you wanted to get Doctor Who canceled, right? Can't do it that way. Try again. Not saying you are, and all your people, but I love the harassment on Twitter. Pretty fucking cool, actually. Let's see. Let's see what this is about. Oh, people blocked me so I wouldn't see it. Davros Gate, of course. So this utter melt, Matrix Lord, making videos about me when I haven't even found. So that's about him because he's being stupid. And then John Michael Fink. Who else? Who else? It's funny. It's funny that if Doctor Who got canceled, you would be out of business, essentially. Because how are you going to make money with doing that if there's no more Doctor Who to talk about? And I'm not saying you should like it just so you can continue your show. No. But now, going forward, you need to have a Sensosphere to reclassify, hey guys, it's not a children's show. I was wrong. My name is Brendan. I had to be educated by Matrix Lord 2 and 2, who was not a teacher but a published author, that it's a young adult show, high schoolers. And anything that was said with the name children involved with this era of Doctor Who is invalid. 100% because it's not a children's show. I mean, just think if it was a legal issue. Let's just say BBC wanted to sue you or Disney. You called it a children's show. It's not. They clearly label it young adult. So you've been missed. Your main topic of Doctor Who, you didn't even know what it's rated. Mind blown. Oh, I forgot to eat and I forgot to eat and drink liquids and breathe today. I must be dead. I guess so. I guess so. Oh, I didn't know it was for young adults. I just thought it was for children. I can get a puppet too. I haven't talked to you with the Who Pets. Jesus, Brendan, Jesus. I schooled the teacher. My God. Tell you what. How about you sign up for more classes to be a better teacher? How about that? Because you couldn't even know what it was. And I have every right to criticize you because you mislabeled Doctor Who as a children's show. It isn't. It's a young adult show. Now, the case is closed. Unless, of course, you want to come in here. Because you're allowed to come in here if you want, of course. Because that's not fair, is it? That's not fair, Matrix Lord. You can't do that. You got to give him a chance to respond. It might be too late over there, though. Doesn't matter what it is now. What is your country label? Doesn't matter what it was in the 60s. This isn't the 60s. What do you rate it? What is your country rating? If your country rates it young adults, then as a podcaster and a host, you have a responsibility to be accurate to your audience. And if you keep calling it a children's show and it's not a children's show, then you're lying to your public. And I would never want to screw with you. And I never want, but I found it appalling. See, as a host and a podcaster, I have tons of podcasts on Doctor Who and tons of videos, and I don't really care about, like, when I'm doing my gaming, I don't give a crap about anything, right? So like, I'm not no clickbaiter, I'm no ambulance chaser, right? All right. So, like, the fact that I'm just commenting, and as a teacher, don't you know that you have different students? Don't you know that not everyone is alike? Not everyone is gay, right? Not everyone is straight. Not everyone is the same color. Not everyone speaks the same. Not everyone is as smart as the other one. So you are patient with them as a teacher, and you identify where they need improvement and you implement that, right? So they can learn the best, correct? But when it comes to Doctor Who, where's the teacher side where someone has a different opinion of yours? See, it's kind of a thin line, because I thought that was a fantastic stream, mind you. But I kind of did not like the way you were coming at Paul, and I didn't like the comment section of people going against Paul. And I think it's definitely a problem in the Whovian community, the toxic fandom. Because, I mean, you believe that everyone's created equally, correct? I mean, that's right. You don't think that, there's only one choice. You're not communist, right? You're not a Nazi, right? You don't think of the master race and our opinion's only the right. You don't think that way, right? So, I'm not saying you do, but why are people attacking Paul like that in the comment section? And why aren't you defending him? Why aren't you saying anything? Even if you don't agree with him, why aren't you be like, this is my panelist and I need to protect my people? No. Why aren't you moving your ass and doing the right thing? Why? Why aren't you defending your people? People want to come on your show. If they don't agree with you, you don't want yes men on your show, right? So what the fuck? The guy clearly liked the episode. Big fucking deal. And he identified to you that is the Doctor, because it happened in the classic series. He's right. I've seen every episode of Doctor Who, so have you. Where have you been? Where have you been? Perception filter? You don't remember things happening? And I mean, do we need? Here's the thing. I don't need to do a series of lessons to teach you every single Doctor of every single time a Doctor killed somebody or tortured somebody or hurt somebody. Now, you could have had a blind eye to it the whole time. But I don't need to do that, nor do I want to do that, nor do I have time to do that, because that is not what I want to go game. I want to do that. I don't want to talk about this. But I see all this bullshit in my fucking thread. That's disgusting. That's not cool. What is that? How about, hey guys, we're allowed to have different opinions on the sense sphere. Please don't go and bully anybody. Please don't attack anybody for having an opinion. Thank you. So, I really don't like bullies. Not saying you're a bully. Never liked bullies. When I was a kid, nobody knew what Doctor Who was but me. Now, one person in my school knew what Doctor Who was but me. I used to get beat up from bullies in school because I used to pretend when we were in the schoolyard and people were running around like, with Star Wars and this and that. I used to pretend that the tree was my TARDIS, and I used to tell my friend about Doctor Who, and I got him to watch Doctor Who, so I wasn't the only one. So there was two of us. But I got beat up for loving Doctor Who, and I didn't give a fuck, because guess what? You're not going to change me. You're not going to change my opinion of what I like and what I don't like because you bully me and you beat me up. So I stood my ground. Maybe had a bloody nose, maybe had a cut eye, maybe had bruises everywhere, but I got beat up for loving Doctor Who. And I never liked bullies. And when I got older, and that used to happen, let's say in high school, I used to fight back with the bullies. And this time, I wasn't the one with a bloody nose. They got a mark too. And now that's not kosher. But my teachers would never stopping bullying in any school that I went to. None of them did. None of them helped me. None of them reacted any way nice when I used to get beat up or bullied or they saw it happen. And even though they broke it up, nobody gave a shit that my school bag was ripped. Nobody gave a shit. It was an inconvenience for them to make an issue of it. So, by today's standards, of course, I would like to think that there's a more strong thing in schools to stop bullying. You have no idea what it is now. But I remember what I went through. So, all I can tell you is that I don't tolerate bullying at any stage of life, and I don't tolerate people going against Whovians that like an episode of Doctor Who. I will rip them to shreds for attacking someone for liking the show. And I love Doctor Who, and maybe you don't. Maybe you want to cancel. That's respected. I respect your opinion to not like it. But maybe I know how a podcast is supposed to be, a host supposed to be. I protect my people. I protect my panelists. I don't tolerate that nonsense. I don't tolerate people bullying anybody in my group. Don't. So even if I didn't agree with my guest or member, I don't tolerate anybody attacking anybody. Now, we could have had a debate like Who Fire, where it's a thing where you battle, meaning you talk, but you work it out, right? Like a debate show. That's my podcast for that. But I've always been a peacemaker, always tried to get people to work things out. So, as much as I love your podcast, not happy what I saw. Not happy. Doctor Who's not a television show for children. It's rated. It's rated in America. It's rated in your country. Maybe you're lazy to look at it and see what it's rated, but as a teacher, don't you see if people got like a peanut allergy? Aren't you thorough as a teacher to know stuff about your students? So wouldn't you know if you're going to do a podcast about Doctor Who, wouldn't you know if it's rated young adults or if it's rated? It doesn't matter what the classic series was. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What is it now? What is it now? What was it in New Who? Do you know? Probably don't. Young adults. Young adults. High schoolers in America. Kids that can go to the theater and they can watch a horror movie, because guess what? Most of the horror movies now, they try to make it where teenagers can see it, right? So it's PG-13. So it is appropriate for young adults. Doctor Who, it is. Argument invalid. Sorry. Didn't mean to, whoa, I just blew your mind. Didn't mean to. Sorry. Doctor Who is a young adult show. A yacht show. When I use that, I don't like that term. But it's young adult. And I'm pretty sure you'd probably be embarrassed, but I'm pretty sure when you go to put it on, watch the first 3 seconds, because it has to appear right before anything. It will say a rating on there. And it will tell you in your country, in the UK, what it's rated for. And I guarantee you, it doesn't say for children. I guarantee you, it's the same rating as in America, 13, 14, whatever. There you go. Case closed. Class is no longer in session. Just educated and schooled. The teacher, Brendan. What the sense here? Not a children's show. Sorry. Doesn't matter what the classic series is. Can never say it. But now, as a teacher, you are responsible for your students. And you are responsible. You say that the classic series was good for Doctor Who? Okay, I dare you to put any of those episodes in your classroom and let them watch it. Let's see what kind of legal issue you would have with the parents. Hey, parents, I'm going to let my students see classic Doctor Who where the Doctor battled the Cybermen. Yeah, there might be something in there like the companion blowing up and dying and the companion's dead. But, yeah, the Doctor uses a gun and he stabs a Cyberman in the chest. I think it's appropriate because I'm an elementary school teacher and I think it's great. What do you think? I doubt. See, as a parent, I have a problem with you putting that in the fucking classroom. And I wouldn't let my kids watch that. Sorry. And I haven't. I let them watch certain things, Doctor Who, but I knew and I monitored and I said, okay, is there anything in this episode that's inappropriate? So, there you go. That's it. Classic series. Some shit in there that happens. Maybe you don't know because you weren't a teacher then. Maybe you just enjoyed it as a kid like I did, but if you were going to judge every single episode of Doctor Who as a teacher, and you could honestly say, I could let a 5-year-old and 6-year-old watch this, God bless you, man. And I can tell you that if you started going down that road, there'll be a lot of episodes of Doctor Who you would not let them see in 2025. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. It's amazing how. And I'm glad I was able to see Doctor Who when I was a kid. But if we had 2025 ratings, never be able to see that. Never. Never be able to see that. So it's sad. Different things are different now. You know? And like I said, I hear you saying, oh, my parents would never let me see this. My parents knew that the Doctor was like this. Didn't you say that? Okay. But you did see it. Brina Morbius. When was the last time you watched it? When was the last time you watched Earthshock? Can you review it? Go back. Look at the Sixth Doctor. A little violence there. Go back. Go back and rewatch it with the eyes of an elementary school teacher. You tell me what you think. Do a new fucking series on it on the Sensphere. Classic series, re-rated by Brandon. Sorry. Guarantee you would have to re-rate everything, wouldn't you? Telling you. Maybe you had a perception filter, maybe you didn't know, but dude, sorry, burst your bubble, but Doctor Who is not rated a children's show. It's young adults. But I would even challenge, I would want to now go back and I would want to see on any of those streaming services what they rate New Who. I guarantee you it's young adult. There's no way it's for children. There's no way. No way. There's no way. There you go. That's the end. It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for. Take care. Bye for now.